I guess that's it. All right. All right. So what I'm trying to do anyway yesterday is that I wanted us to have like a good mindset to what the project is, the final project is going to be generally about, while also we can start talking about some other things that backend development is basically involved with. And I really don't want us to take our time today at all. Like I was looking into a little bit of like 15 minutes to 30 minutes talk while I just assign tasks to everyone. So if I'm very correct, I am expecting both Clinton and what's his name? I think Yinka as well. I think his name Sinerian or something on the call. So you guys that are here, did you notice anyone else on the call yesterday? I think if I have you correctly, I have Noah, Ayobami. I think I saw, okay, there's Basit, Clinton, and what's this other guy named that said, okay, yeah, it's Yinka. So there are about 5 of you that I noticed that are still very regular as well. So I think these are the 5 people that I would see that I think I can assign tasks to as well. So the 2 of you are here, while the 3 of them are not. Okay, so I think I will know for sure when the assignment is submitted. I wanted to know how many of us are having to, what's it called, to be in the class as well. So I'll know how to assign tasks to us all. But in general, let me hear from you guys now. Noah and Ayobami, how has the classes been? And at least now we've reached about majority of what we are going to spend together. The remaining is just to move on as well. So before we do a little bit of touch up for today's class, let me see. Well, how has the classes been so far? Let me start with you, Noah.
Yeah, and for me, I would say very educative. That's all. I missed some. I've gone back to YouTube to catch up, and they are very, very educative. Showing me stuff. I'm happy
Okay,
I'm part of
all
this
right.
program. Really.
All right, that's fine. How about you, Ayobami?
Yeah, the classes have been fine so far. I've been able to keep up with what I've been able to cover from the start.
All right, that's good. So the fact that both of you, at least I can speak for Clinton, Yinka, and Basit, I think I can, those 3, I think I can speak for them, at least to some extent. They were, I think 2 of them specifically were in that class who were having a couple of issues and whatever. So, but then a good litmus test for knowing that you are good to go is if you can understand the repository as it is currently. Where is it again? Yeah. So as it is currently, as far as you can understand everything that is done, then that's a good litmus test for what we are doing for the class, basically. So what we want to do now is that I want us to update this error handler and at least have it to a good point where we are very good to go. So that's what I just want us to do now. I realize now that a couple of things I've been doing here may not be the most appropriate idea to just have you guys do. So I just want you guys to have the error handler once now and then completely just work with it now. So maybe in a shape that you can always just update your code with generally. And then after from there, I will assign you guys to some tasks. I will tell you about it, and then we can always decide on how we can meet. Okay, so that's what we want to do now. Correctly. That's just our intention for now. So that those that are not here can also benefit one way or the other. Okay. So are we good? Can I get started now? You can just give me a verbal response.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So the point for the error handler, to just point it in very many cases, is that errors are very important in building our application. So this week I was recently given a task. It's a very new repository. I didn't write the code at all. But I was given a task to fix something now. It was something relating to OTP, right? So you are registering for a new account and the users are supposed to get an OTP in their email address, in their email, and they're supposed to, do some verification with the OTP. But the sign up couldn't complete because the OTP was not received. They didn't get to have the OTP. So I didn't write the code. The person who wrote the code is unavailable as well. Either. So someone just reached me and said, okay, you know what? Blah 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 blah, help me check this as well. So it took me a lot of hours, or let me say it took me a significant amount of time to actually pinpoint what was going on, because almost every request I was sending was coming in correctly as well. It was giving me appropriate responses. And then what's it called? I couldn't really pinpoint why the OTP wasn't being sent. In fact, the person who told me did not even describe the issue very, very, to be honest. And it is a code base that I didn't write, so I didn't know where the components were. So at the end of the day, when I found the issue was just the fact that the keys were updated or something like that. So I had to go update that. So that's what I'm trying to. That's why you need to have the mindset that errors are very, very important. You could have, because you are trying to build something that is nested. Even if your error response or success response are always going to show up to the consumer of the API very well, it doesn't necessarily mean that every single component have done well as well. So you want your you want your errors to be showing, and you really want to catch them as well. So that's really what I really want to emphasize on. I don't know if my story actually helped to buttress my points, because I got distracted in the middle of it. But yeah, let's start something like this now. So one thing I did yesterday was to write something doesn't work here. I forgot the actual message we wrote there for when we were building the first one. Request failed. Try again later. Could be a good one. So this is our default message now that we are going to send to what's it called, to the consumer of the API. The mindset is that when we've done our own block of checking the error, whatever, and then something basically that is not part of whatever we defined here. But let me just get rid of everything here so we can start afresh again. So the idea is that if the error, if it gets to the consumer mindset, to the consumer side of it now, it failed. We have already kind of logged and accounted for it anyway. So once we've logged and account for it anyway, because we are going to log it as well here. If you follow the earlier example that we did previous project, we logged it. So once the logger has already collected, like properly logged it out, we that are building the application could go investigate that particular error and see what particularly happened as well, so that we can actually update our error handling code with that particular type. So the mindset is that you really don't want to always put everything, every different error that is possible. You don't really want to start thinking, oh, this is possible, this is possible, this is possible. Yeah, no, you don't want to actually have to do that. These are things that you update as you are as you are building up your code. Okay, so that's the mindset we have here. So if we just have this simple error handler here, it will work perfectly fine, but it's not very descriptive of what you have. So let's have to update some of these things that we know for sure are possible. So the first thing is that we've installed Mongoose and we are doing our work with Mongoose. We've written a model, our authentication model from there. So we could look into the errors that we could have from Mongoose. You could just say errors from Mongoose basically. Now we just do a Google search. I think I was trying to tell you maybe I was trying to look into the scenario we have it, and then we put it here for space. But today I basically just changed my mind and said, you know what, let me show you guys where to find everything, and then we just account for everything once and direct there. Okay. Like I said, my internet is not optimal today. I don't. All right, here we go. So these are some of the errors that we have from there basically now. So how do we properly check for anything is mongoose error? Maybe we just want to start from there. So you may just want to start with, okay, and say, okay, mongoose errors now. Maybe you just want to define them like this now. So you just want to have everything to be collected here. And the reason why we are checking it from here is maybe just so because we want to have a message, do not say request field later, try request field, try again later. Or we just want to try and have a way to say, okay, if message and say error dot message, and then say something like the error code to update it to say maybe you just want to have your own error code per se, particularly for anything that has to do with mongoose. And then also maybe you just want to have your own particular a message that you want to have. But the reason we are not writing our own custom message is because we are doing everything relating to mongoose here. So if anything is having to do with mongoose, maybe that should be a bad request. Like something is being done to mongoose, because some of the things that mongoose is going to complain about is what is being described here. So maybe like you did a validation error. We've seen that before. You could also read the error now. So cast error is trying to take one particular thing and cast it to a value. So if that failed, basically, if any of those things failed, basically, then you, of course, it's probably a bad request, because remember, we are using mongoose as our database layer. As is our database, that means for it to even fail in the first place now, it's probably because you are passing in a wrong value, you are doing the wrong request kind of thing. So that's where you want to, that's what you probably want to have as that, as the error code here. So you can just say status code dot bad requests. If you want to have it yourself, you can have it, write it yourself. It's just 400 from there. Okay, and say something like error. If error is instance of mongoose dot, to import it there, dot error, that's how we have it, dot say validation error, or error instance of mongoose dot error. I think we saw cast error from there. So you just want to take everything and just keep duplicating this line instead of taking this once and for all. So I think another one we saw from there was divergent array error. Maybe I'm not going to write everything here once and for all in the class, but just so you get the point, let me just write a couple of. So the
I want
next
to
one we
mention something.
saw, yeah, hello.
You said errors from Mongoose are probably bad requests, but what if the user provides like a username or email that already exists? Is it also going to be a bad request?
Okay, so when you check errors from that particular error is not going to be thrown from mongoose. It's going to be thrown from MongoDB if you are saying it specifically from the instance of, say, we have a unique email address or a unique username, for example. So Mongoose is going to understand that thing specifically. But you should remember that Mongoose is not the database. Mongoose is just it's just like a layer in between the database and our code. MongoDB has its own syntax for querying the database that you basically have now. So what Mongoose is trying to do is just trying to bridge the gap between what you're writing, application code, and what MongoDB is expecting. So those are things that we call ORMs, object relational mappers, right? So that's what Mongoose is. So if you're having that kind of issue that say something is not unique or something like that, that has to come from inside of your database. It could be valid, right? It could be a valid name like we have here. If I try doing man of letters, it is valid. So Mongoose is not going to have that kind of thing basically now. Okay. So as well, you could also try to just, since everything I'm trying to do here is part of mongoose.error, instead of just even like writing everything here, I mean, I could just get rid of it and just say if it is a mongoose.error, and then you just basically just throw it like that. Okay, so I think that's even much more appropriate in our case here, since we just wanted to have everything relating to mongoose as a one single thing. like that. So if anything is coming from Mongoose, we want to have that particular scenario where we just collect the message and put it there. Okay, instead of writing the different types that we have. But let's say you want to have some, let's say you understand what your strict mode error is, and you just want to like have your own custom message for it. You probably want to say, okay, if error is instance of mongoose dot error dot, say probably validator error or version error or whatever like that, you now account for it. Well, you probably want to account for it above this one so that this doesn't just basically trip it first. This doesn't just account for it first. So I mean, I hope that makes sense to you. So whoever asked that question, I hope I have been able to properly explain that.
Yeah, I get. Thanks.
All right. But also, that also begs the question that I was going to talk about in the next class, and that is something relating to validation. So anytime you are having your request going into the database now, for example, now, and you are thinking that that is something that the database could likely complain about now, maybe just because something is missing or maybe something like that now, you are likely going to have something that is called a validator, right? So that's what you are going to have. And I'm going to talk about how it is different from what Mongoose is doing in its own in its own way, basically. But like, let me just try and see if I can just trigger this Mongoose error and see if, okay, if everything just works. I mean, it should work, so no problem with that. How could I trigger it? We have a validation error. Okay, something is already, okay, that's a MongoDB one. Okay, okay, so let me just misspell a couple of entries. I'm not interested in doing demo basically here, but let me just try and misspell those ones and just send it from there. Okay, so all right, you can see that it basically works as required. So it has seen. So that's what we are doing. I'm not interested in doing demos like that. We don't have that kind of time here. Okay. All right. So another thing is that JavaScript has its own error, yeah, like it's error classes that it has like that. I think I have something. I was checking it again. All right, this is it now. Oh my fuck. That was my phone falling down. Okay. Screen is more expensive than this one though.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, I was looking it on this too. Yeah, now we have a line on the screen guard. I have to check it just to be sure. All right, but yeah, that should be the screen guard anyway. I'll check it just to be sure. Anyway, yeah, so JavaScript has several examples of errors that you may want to really concern yourself with, and that's what we have here. Okay, so we have the eval error, range error, reference error, syntax error, type error, and like that. So I was writing something like that in the previous code, but this is how you probably also want to check for it now. So also if error, we just say error instance of what was the first one? I think range error, blah blah. Or so you probably just want to check all of these ones as well. Maybe you don't want to have your generic listing. Maybe you just want to have I think this one is type error. Want to have a URI error. I think this one is reference error. Next one, you may want to, what do we even have from there? So syntax error as well. Syntax error. What else? I think is it up to 6 years? Okay, I think I saw aggregate error here as well. So aggregate error 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think that's one more. Syntax. Okay, we say eval error. Okay, that's definitely the one I was looking for. So eval error as well. All right. So in fact, I really don't want you to think that you always have to always just like write this out yourself. You could basically just have an else statement that, okay, if anything, if all these things are not part of the error that you have, try and collect the message and try and collect the distance. But it will override what we've already decided here, that these are the defaults ones like that. And so that's why I don't really want to have that last particular like else statement. I just want to, because I always want to have like, if this error is here, let me just update it and update it like that. And to be honest, I noticed that some people don't do this much of checking into their listing as well. So maybe you just don't want to do that. So I think this one is also fit for a bad request basically now, because it's something that has to do with your with the JavaScript. Basically, if you have any of these types, you are doing something wrong with this thing. So that's what you have there as well. So why do we still have this red squiggly line here? If error is that, then what am I not doing right? That's
sign.
oh, okay. Yeah, the last one. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, thank you. All right, so one more. What's it called? From MongoDB itself. And I think we were doing it here if something already exists now like this. All right, so else if error dot name is Mongo server error, blah 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 blah. I also feel like instead of checking it that way, we could just easily, instead of saying if the error name is this and if the error name is blah blah like this, we could just skip ahead this line now. We could totally just skip ahead this line and just come from here that if the error has error dot response dot code and is equal to this, then we know for sure it's coming from MongoDB, because that's how MongoDB is doing it. That's a specific code to error to MongoDB, but you also want to check for that. But then again, you might also not want to probably check that, because you may install a package that has this similar kind of setup like that, and you have a clash. But in this particular case, I have not really seen it. I don't really know any other package that has that kind of same error code like 11,000 like MongoDB, to the best of my knowledge. So you are probably going to be fine if you do that. But if you notice that kind of thing in your whatever you're doing there, you probably want to probably just do this kind of check that, okay, maybe like if error.name is Mongo server error and error dot, maybe, okay, fine. Let's actually come to a compromise like that and say something like error.name is equals to Mongo server error. Okay, and let's see, error response dot code is equals to 11,000. Then we know for sure that is it. So instead of writing nesting things over and over again, we just say what else do we say? Okay, the resource also already exists, and just put the error code there. So boom, we already have that. Okay. So I suppose that's it. So let's see. Let's see. I think that's all I just said I wanted to do. Okay. Let's see. Let's put it all back now. Request failed. Try again later. All right. It's skipping over this this thing. Let me see. Did I misspell the Mongo? Mongo's. You know what? Get rid of it first of all.
It should be 11,000.
Okay. Thank you. Didn't see that. All right, you can see that it has updated to that. So instead of having this unnecessary nesting of things that we have here, I just thought we just have that together as that. And the reason why I am not solely comfortable in doing this again is because we may just have another package that is doing something that MongoDB is trying to do. So all we go from here is that you could just keep on doing like different else if, like if this is this, but maybe you just don't want to keep it as something you want to think about until you have it showing up. If you have it showing up for you, then you can just update your code with it basically. Okay, so that's just one thing I said that we should talk about like that. So I hope that is a good one. We've probably fully summarized what this is all about. Oh yeah, one more thing. We should add the logger because we are not logging the error. I'm not bothered with, I can't be bothered to write that again. So let me just pick it from the other branch where I was doing something earlier. So in any case, what the logger is doing is that if we have any error, it should basically log it out, right? So it puts the method and the URL. So a good description of the particular endpoint where it is, what the user was trying to do, and where it actually happened, and then the particular error that came from there. So that when you are visiting your logs, your error logs, and see the kind of things that are happening there, you kind of have much more understanding of what's going on. Okay, so that's what you just want to do from there. So let me just pick it and just so that you can carry out appropriate actions basically. So seeing the error and then log it out and also respond with it. So back to the after you properly written the message that you want. Okay, I hope that is kind of fine with everyone. This is a much more better thing than whatever we've been trying to do so far. That's it. Okay, so let's go back to the that what okay, what do we have from here? We refer okay, logger is not defined. All right, so that's because we didn't put the logger, we didn't define it in this error handler file as well. So import logger, logger from okay, that part. Hold on. All right, so let me just quickly get that done. I think our stuff was in the utils. Where we also said it is a logger.js. I don't know why I didn't come up with it now. So yeah, all right. Yeah. So I think yeah, we are good. All right. So that's one of those things. So we're good. All right. So let's come back to the other agenda for today. And the other agenda is that I want to define some tasks. Okay. Okay. Both Clinton, Basit, and okay, I think it's Yinka that is not here now. All right. I'm now here. So all right. So one thing I want us to do first of all is that I think I want us to make a little bit of a research. And I think let me start with Clinton for that one. So Clinton, I want you to find a way to we are going to generate an OTP, right? I'm writing it down anyway. So I want us to generate an OTP that we are going to send to a user on successful login or on successful account creation. Okay, so just for this project, we are not going to do anything that is over the top. We are going to make use of some Google, like we're going to set up our stuff using Gmail. It's not the appropriate way to go about it. We are just sending it, everything we are sending, we are going to, it's not like Google is an inappropriate way to do it, but we are going to do it in such a way that it comes from like a normal mail kind of scenario. Let me show you if I can have that particular thing showing up. Well, okay, I'll have to get through personal stuff to get that particular example for what I want. So I'm not going to show you. I'm going to show it in the group chat basically. So, but what I'm saying is that you're going to find something on Google Cloud Console. You're going to write a function that generates a unique. I should hold on. Let me get something. Hold on. Just hold on. I saying so, Clinton, I will need you to get into to generate an OTP, a unique one that we can send to the user, and then we'll need that OTP to expire in about say 10 minutes, and so that it's fully serves the purpose of just authenticating them into the database, and then they can do, the entire OTP flow. Basically, we are sending it to the user, and then we are authenticating if it is correct and stuff like that. So that is what I am assigning to you. I'll give you a proper description of that basically for now. Okay, I hope
All
you
right,
got
sure.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
all right. So yeah, we're saying that.
yeah, so it's me, it's Clinton.
Okay.
It's like generating an OTP on. Is it when the user registers, like OTP is generated, like
Yes,
on
when the
user
user is
registration?
trying to register, yeah, on user registration, the OTP is generated and will be
All right.
sent to their email, right?
Yeah. So
So that's what you want
e-
to do.
can I? Yeah.
I'm listening, I'm listening.
Yeah, so I can. So the email I can use like all those temp mails, sorry, temp mail on those temporary mails that I always like giving to. I can use something like that to test it or like.
I mean, okay, you could probably do that. You could do that as well. I mean, you could
All
also
right.
use, I can give you a good, do you know any resource for generating temporary email? Because I can also give you a link to do that as well, if you don't know.
Yeah, you can also send the link, but I think I have some music. I still have like a link that's I can use to generate emails, but I would like to see yours also. So I'll just
Nice.
choose which one is like
Nice.
working.
All right, that's
Thank you.
fine. All right, so Clinton will work on that. Okay. Basit, let me see. All right. So Basit, since we are working on a prototype to a carpooling platform, I think I want you to have this particular kind of thing now. So I want you to write our models. Am I sharing my this thing? Okay. I want you to write our models for what a vehicle is. Okay. So you're going to decide what makes a vehicle in the platform, because of course, think about it now. We are going to have different people, and they're going to have different vehicles and different, in a case where we have a bus stop, and we are going to have a vehicle that goes from there to there. And then we are also having vehicle that, some people are also going to share their ride with other people as well. There could be a vehicle. Let me show you this stuff again. Maybe I'm getting you distracted. Maybe I'm not saying it very well. Let me show you the platform again. So we have like I said that yesterday, we have the Karuna Go and the Karuna Share. So the Karuna Go, you can think about it as, in this particular platform, that particular side of the platform, it is owned by the service itself, by Karuna as a company, as by itself. So the vehicle for like through Karuna Go belongs to Karuna itself, and it is the one that is going to be going from place to place, like bulk transporting people. But through Karuna Share, people are going to be sharing their own ride with other people. You get, so regardless of what the scenario is, we are going to have a vehicle on the platform, and that vehicle is going to be handled by you. You're going to define the model for the vehicle. You're going to tell us what different information that the vehicle can have. Okay, so it could have a brand name, the model, the mileage, the anything that you can think about in a vehicle. I think I will need you to have that particular section. Do you understand what I just said clearly?
Well, I didn't really get that.
You said
I didn't really get that.
you didn't really get that. Okay. So
Yeah.
there are going to be vehicles on the platform. We need vehicles there. It's one of those things that the platform needs to be able to exist. As we have users, we also have vehicles, your cars as well. So we are going to write the schema for that. That's what I'm assigning to you. And I think, let me even update that. I think you will need to do some CRUD operations on the vehicles as well. So vehicle model and vehicle CRUD. Plus, you are creating a vehicle, you are updating the vehicle details, you are this. Let me see if I can show you some of what is possible from there. Maybe that will get your idea from there. I can't even remember where. I think I messed up any of this. Okay, this is where it is. Let me see. This is where it is now. So if I'm going to create a vehicle, this will be a little bit like an export to you, but like towards your distance. So this is what some of the information that a vehicle has on what I created then. Okay, so the type, the model, the color, the plate number, stuff like that could be things that you think about. So is that clear? So you want to have your CRUD operations on vehicles from there. Is that right? Is that fine with you?
Okay, I get you now.
All right. So who else? Who else? Okay, Noah. Okay, I hardly noticed you in the class, so I don't even know what could fly into your own this thing. All right. So Noah, I want you to let me see. Let me still see if I remember some things here that we have as well. Somebody remind me. Okay, hold on. All right. So Noah, to be in charge of what's it called? Let me see if I can just open that one. I'm not going to get into the details of it. I'm just going to see what we have from here. All right. All right. So Noah, I want you to be in charge of defining what a route is. So you are going to work with routes. Okay. So routes and route crude like that. So let me tell you the difference between the routes and trips, because even the front end dev was having issues with it then. Are you with me, Noah? Can you talk so I can verify that you're hearing me?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So
Yeah, I can hear
when
you.
we have, all right, good. So when we are going, so the thing about the what we called a route then is that when we wanted, where I was building this application, it is prototype based. We had two options that we could have it to be. Either we make use of Google Maps API so that we have things to work really, really well, or we try and put some manual routes on our this thing ourselves. So we kind of like put some things in the application ourselves. So we decided to do things that particular way. And let me show you what it looks like. Okay, so a route is basically that particular side of the road that the vehicle is going to go. Say, for example, now, Obalende to Oshodi, for example, that is a route. That is like a section of Lagos State that we could have basically now. So a route is going to be defined, and you are going to, so that's what makes a route anyway. Let me see. So in this case, I am routes, and then it's going to be, so this is an example of a route. These are the information I left there. So I put this manually myself. We could use Google Maps for it, but there are some reasons why we didn't use Google Maps at all. And the reason was because it was going to expand the scope of what we were trying to do. And then it was also going to cost me putting my card details on Google, and lots of our cards do not work, and I could not be bothered with getting one of these ones like cheaper or the others that was going to work for that, at least at that particular point in time. So I just ended up doing this. It's not ideal, but it is what it is. So for this purpose, maybe we should have that particular kind of mindset as well. So you want to create a route, update a route, and stuff like that. Okay, so who else should we have to do it now? Okay, who else is on the call? So I already have Noah. So, okay, Ayobami. Ayobami, now your work is dependent on Noah's work. So I think both of you should probably be together now, right? So Ayobami, the two of you you and Noah should work together. We're also going to have what we call a trip, right? So a trip is that particular journey that a user is going to take. right? So a trip is going to have payment information as well. So let's say, for example, me as a user, I am deciding to go between that same Obalinde to Oshodi that I mentioned that is already defined in the route already. So I can only go on that trip using Corona because that route has already been existing. Are you with me now? So because Corona already has that as a route that is defined already now. It is one of the roads that Corona is going to cover. So a user that is visiting Corona now or wants to use our service for transportation has already seen that as one of those routes that their vehicle is going to be flying. It's going to be taken around, right? So what you want to do is that you want to do your trips model. So things that make up a trip now, you're going to think of, okay, your starting point, your ending point. Maybe you get that from the route details, your payments. Maybe you want to decide the distance itself could probably come into play there. The payment, how much that particular trip is going to cost, right? So you should think that a route is not going to have that particular information basically. Maybe or maybe you could put it as part of the route. Maybe you already define it that okay, Oshodi to Palm Grove is going to cost 1,000 naira basically, and then anybody that tries to take that trip will always have it from there. It depends on how you and Noah work together on that. I think I want the two of you to work together on that. Okay, so how many people have I mentioned? I think there were 5 people. Okay, other than me. So me myself, Akorede, I'm going to be working on authentication stuff. I'm walking you guys through authentication stuff. And there's also something I wanted that we are going to update this stuff later with. So both your vehicle and route information, they need to only be done by an admin, someone who is an admin of that particular application, for example. So if you allow users to just create their routes, now that could be problematic now. Or you want allow users to basically just put, I mean, the vehicle that you're putting now, maybe you just want to ensure that the Corona vehicles are something that is an information that the admin wants to only have access to. So that is where that is going to come into play. So I'm going to share with you guys anything about the authentication, the admin side, and stuff like that. So Clinton, we to work, me and you, we are going to work hands in hand together to figure this thing out. Okay, that generating OTP stuff and Google stuff is going to be fine. And then when we do all of that, we are going to have a central repository that we are all going to be working towards. I want to believe everyone knows how to clone the repository, make branches and this thing and whatever. I want to believe so. You guys can talk now.
Mm, yes. Yeah, I know how to clone the repository. But
Okay.
when we're making like after maybe if we are done with the code, when we're making pull requests, is it automatically going to like create a new branch for that particular request, that particular
Okay.
pull?
Okay, so this the point you want to do. Okay. So you want to clone the repository and then you also want to make a new branch for your work as well. I mean, just try and just clone it into your own or fork it into your own repository anyway, and then do your own work. And then when you're trying to make your own work, you can come over here to make a pull request when you're done. So the pull request will compare what you have on your own branch. Maybe it is your own main branch over there. So what I have in my own main branch, and you can raise it from there. Okay. So from there, I can now try and accept it. Because if you try to push directly here to this thing now, it won't work because you don't have access, you don't have the authorization for that. I can push because it's my own account, but you can't as well. So I think a good flow should be for you to fork the repository, work in your own repo, then or create your own branch if you think it is necessary. You could have several branches to work with and do that as well. So I think that's what it is. So I think I'll release a general notepad for that now between anytime between today and tomorrow morning, and I'm going to put the full proper descriptions of what I am assigning to you, and then I want you to start doing. So next week, I want our classes to just be like 30 minutes to 1 hour session, 30 minutes to 1 hour session, maybe like on each day. You guys can give me an update on what you have, and I can see how to just push a little bit of what we already know a little bit forward, because we still have some other things to check through. We still need to read about validation. Anytime we are sending something through a form to the application, we need to properly validate it so that in case whoever is consuming our API maybe misspelled a key, maybe do something wrong, but maybe they did not misspell a key, because at least Mongoose is probably going to catch that. Not always, but it's probably going to try and catch that in some cases. The only reason why Mongoose was catching this one, if you can remember, is because we specifically said that email and username should be spelled this way, right? Because I mean, they were unique, right? They were unique entries in our database. So if they were not unique, Mongoose was not going to catch that to be something that it should check on before trying to get into our database. So that is something that we need to have, something that is always checking entries into our database. So that's one of the future things to discuss. We need to discuss deployment, of course. We need to discuss maybe there are different several things that, oh yeah, payment as well. Yeah, payment is something that we are all generally going to learn together. It's going to be this thing. But I want all these things to run concurrently over the course of the next 2 weeks. So let's have it like that now. I don't know about others that are not on the call, but I did say at the beginning now that we have okay, there's also Yinka as well. That's the sixth person. I'll find what to give him as well, or I'll pair him up with Basit. Okay, so that everybody can work in groups of twos. So you and your partner can get into your DMs, discuss whatever, but just understand that it is not partner-based work, it is a general-based work. You are all going to come together and share what you've learned in the next section. Okay, so that's just one thing I said that we should try and do on this call. I hope that's clear and that is generally fair to everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that's fine. So yeah, from trying to see how everything relates to each other. I mean, at least for routes and trips now, you are going to think about how it works together. At least I know that based on what I did and how I'm going to write it to you, your trip depends on your routes. Your vehicle stands alone basically, but authentication was really a big deal. And then you're going to talk about payment as well, so that we can consume a third party API. We are going. Somebody mentioned Axios, one of our early classes, and I said I was going to get back to it. I think it was Yinka. So don't worry, all those things are all going to come back together in this particular section. Okay, so that's it. I hope this error handler is now fully clear to every one of us as well. I think I like the way it is like this. I was trying to put some things together. I mean, I was trying to put some things together for you guys, at least as a beginner level, so you understand. But I realize I'm probably just always only confusing you guys. So yeah, and also maybe one of the future classes, I'll bring out some of the things I'm doing in my own recent work as well. That how I did things here is basically not how it's just a style anyway. It's just a style of doing things, but you probably also want to do your things to be properly neatly arranged. I don't know. Maybe you just want to do things in a different way. Every developer has their own different ways of doing things. Even these controllers, middlewares, models, routes, and everything we are doing. I've seen a code base where they just have that thing defining that section itself. They don't have controller, middleware, models, routes, and everything. Maybe they have a folder that says vehicle, a folder that says route, a folder that says strip, folder that says authentication. Then maybe say under, let's say this is vehicle now. Basically, let me just even do it now. So let's say vehicle like that as a folder now. So everything that relates to vehicle, you can just name it as vehicle dot controller dot js as well. And the next one is vehicle dot model dot js. There may be another thing that says vehicle dot what again? Z model. Okay, we've done model. Maybe different anything that comes from there as well, or route vehicle or route dot js as well, or dot ts in the case of TypeScript. So that is a good one. It's also a very good design because it allows you to be able to just have your import statements, your import things to be very, your files that are closely related to be close to each other as possible, right? So you may also just have that as well, okay? So this way, I just wanted us to have this section where we just fully understand that this is kind of the language that we use in general, like that. I think I'm going to rewrite one of these code that we've written before in a much more in a different style so that you can also have an idea for that. Okay, so with that being said, let me just ask a couple of you guys if you have questions to that you have. So okay, in general, just so we know, Clinton and I are together on the group, like one, we are working together like that. Basit and Yinka, who is not here, we work together. Noah and Ayobami are working together. So Noah and Ayobami are working on routes and trips. Basit and Yinka are working on vehicle and the crude. And I and Clinton are working on the authentication side. Authentication is generally for everybody, but I am working on we are working together on what we assigned to Clinton, right? So what I assigned to Clinton is what we are going to discuss to and fro together. So I hope that is clear to everybody. If they have a question from any part of what we are doing, they can probably just mention it now. Anything in general. Maybe just if you want to ask me about my favorite sports team or whatever. Just random, just for 5 minutes and then
Yeah.
we end the class.
What's your favorite sports team, sir? Don't say my.
I'm not a Man U fan, basically. I'm a Barcelona fan, but it's
Ah,
more of like it's
so
more of
cool.
I like Messi than Barcelona itself. So I follow him wherever he goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm also
you're one of
Barcelona
those
fan.
people.
What did Noah say? Noah, you said something.
Yeah, I'm a Barcelona fan also. I support
Oh,
many other
okay.
teams. Just love this.
Okay, nice to nice to see someone like me then too. Ayobami and Basit, you guys are quiet. What can you contribute to this random discussion? The storm, I mean the calm before the storm, basically.
During a later class, can you put us through like maybe setting up an express project using TypeScript? Because after the resources that were sent, I still had some errors when setting it up.
Okay, that's a very good one. Thank you for that. All right. Yeah, we can do that. We can do that this week, basically. Okay. It's not something that is depending on any knowledge or anything. Someone asked me that question one day, and it's so easy actually. In fact, to get started, you don't even really need to know TypeScript itself as a language, right? So once you have a code base, and I think you guys, okay, fine. One thing I would do is that I will try and ensure my existing solution, this particular code base that has what we are trying to build. I'll make it a private repository. Maybe I should even do so now, just so that nobody's cheating around their way. Let me make it a private one now. Yeah, I'll make it a private one just after this call. Basically, let me see if I can do it without pressing password. I understand now. All right. Okay, that should be. Okay, that's true. My password is not going to show. All right, that's good. So later on, if you go back to saying this project that itself it exists now, you realize that it doesn't really change much, like nothing much changes aside from the fact that you want to be doing annotation to whatever you're creating now. Like annotation means you are telling it to have this particular type. So, like for example, rec is a type of request here, and rest is a type of response, and both are coming directly from Express here. And say, let me go show you the authentication of a thing that we did here. It's here now. So for example, now, okay, you'll notice that many of the things we are writing already generally are the same. I mean, you can probably definitely read some of these things here. Okay, but what you want to do is that there are some things that TypeScript already it offers basically that you won't take advantage of if you're having that kind of clueless mentality to it, or you're not trying to make use of. But basically, I'll teach you how to go about it. It won't take very long. Let's say 1 hour this week, any day it is, right? So we'll do that as well. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you for reminding me. Okay, who else wants to say something as well? Basit, how about you? Anything in general, random, anything random, or anything you want to plug us to? Maybe you have a gig that you want us to work together on.
Yeah,
You know,
not like a gig.
Not like a gig, but what?
Like it's like I'm like participating in like one October first stuff like this, like contributing to like a repository in like an open source repository. Like it's organized by MLSA like this. It was like a partnership because of October first. Like so like for
Okay.
learning and all those on.
Okay, so how have you been getting along? How's it going?
Yeah, it's just they just started like issuing out problems to like work on. So just probably today like I was like start also like learning on into working with it also. And also like
All right, and of course, you should always know that you can always ask your Gemini and stuff like that, right? To have anything that you have, your Gemini and ChatGPT. Basically, if you have an error you've never seen before, you're kind of like, or you're brainstorming how something should go, just describe whatever you have. I be honest, I don't think I need to be saying that now. You guys already know that. Just give your error to it. If you can see some of the things from here, you probably see we have something like that. So good luck to you with your Hacktoberfest as well. Okay. That's nice to at least it's one of those things that always put you together. When you see different people working together in a code base, you appreciate their style and you want to borrow from it. From secondary school, one of the things I would say that really helped my mathematics was having multiple mathematics textbooks, because one textbook will expose you to a solving style or a particular range of questions, and another textbook will expose you to another range of questions. So as you're still learning, it is when you're able to borrow from this, borrow from that, learn from this, learn from that, that it gets you to really, really have a good scope of what is going on. And the same thing applies in this particular field as well. I mean, it's very, 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 very robust, and you're always learning from there, right? Who else wants to say something? There's an event next week. I think Moonshot, right? Let me see. Before I let you go, I'm letting you go off in 3 minutes, so don't worry, I'm not going to take too much of your time. I also have some short to get around to. So Moonshot by Tech Cabal. Is that it? No, no, there's an event next week on. I think that's it, Sha. I think that's it. Now I don't know. Are we attending? Is that a hotel or something? So I think I would have attended, but yeah, it's Wednesday, October 9th. Right, I think it's between 9th, 10th, and 11th, and Friday as well. Oh yeah. So is anybody aware of it, or are they going? So you may want to go into all these kind of events as well, so that you can also meet with people, talk with people, engage with people and stuff like that. So one of these days we'll have like a little bit of a career talk so that I can share with you some of the things that I didn't know on time, basically, right? So it's just some of the things that I got to learn late that maybe like I would have even really like gotten way ahead of where I am currently as well. And yeah, things like that basically, or basically as a beginner, things that you should probably know from my own perspective. It's not probably as informed as some people will give you, but I just want to actually have it to be really, really based on my own experience and try to have it very, very helpful, so to speak. So we could all put it all through together in this I mean, is this the sixth week of this platform? I think I've lost count already. Is this the fifth or sixth?
And this is the 6th week.
Okay, so we have just the seventh and eighth week. All right. So in the seventh week and eighth week, so why we have something that is overarching, like this stuff we are building is overarching, we can always come together to, have a little bit of a gist and talk and stuff like that. That's what I feel like is what we should be doing. And then off the call, we are actually actively building something together. Okay. So yeah, I think that's all. Since we don't have any other thing to share, thank you for showing up and being part of the program. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your evenings.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
On to you too.
yeah,
All right, thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir.